Hello and welcome. You tuned into Markets at Noon. I'm Ankita Saxena and we'll take you through all of that's transpiring on the market, especially on the earnings front. And an earnings candidate that is doing well in the trading session is Pidilite India, that has posted a rather strong quarter, especially as far as the revenue and the volume uptick is concerned. A strong quarter coming in for Pidilite. We're now talking to the management, Sudhanshu Watts, who's the managing director at Pidilite Industries, on the numbers. Well, hi, Mr. Watts. Thank you so much for joining in. Well, quarter four was a strong quarter and it has beaten the street expectations on all metrics, especially the revenue and the volume that's seeing a sharp uptick. Weigh in on the numbers and, of course, what have been the key highlights for the quarter in terms of the headwinds and the tailwinds for the quarter?
So fourth quarter, we delivered strong results with mid-teens underlying volume growth and revenue growth, coupled with margin expansion of nearly 300 bips in our EBITDA. I think what stood out in this performance is that our growth brands, Roff and Dr. Fixit, continued to accelerate and delivered very, very strong performance. But at the same time, our core brands, especially Fevicol, also delivered double-digit growths. So on the whole, it is a quarter where we delivered very strong results and we are satisfied with the performance of all our brands across the portfolio.
Right, Mr. Watts, the West Asian conflict has been a major headwind this quarter. How is the crisis impacting your business? What impact are you expecting in both the cases if things normalize versus if it persists for the next couple of months as well?
Of course, West Asia crisis is impacting all businesses. In our case, it has had a major implication on supply, both supply security and, of course, inflation in raw material prices. I think as far as we are concerned as a company, we are focused on three different things. First and foremost, as many of you may know, we have operations in Dubai. So making sure that all our people are secure. And I'm happy to report, I think security is our topmost importance. And that is happening. I think the second area we are focusing on is supply security. I think supply security, we are basically looking at all our raw material and packing material. Many of them have hydrocarbon linkages. Many of them have linkages to the West Asia crisis. So we are basically ensuring that we have all our supply secured. I'm happy to report that we are doing considerably well there. And our team on procurement has been really proactive in ensuring that we have all that is needed to be able to deliver the products and do and maintain the customer service that Pidilite is known for. I think lastly, there is an impact on inflation. I think as far as inflationary impact is concerned, the inflation on our kind of raw material varies between 40% and upwards. I think the weighted average inflation on our basket is close to about 50%. So our approach has been to, in a calibrated fashion, pass on the raw material increase in absolute rupees or in terms into the market. We've taken first round of price increase in early April. We have taken another price increase in May. We will continue to watch the situation and ensure that we do this in a manner that we maintain our growth momentum, that we, from our side at least, do not hamper demand in any which way. At the same time, we maintain the profitability in the band which we've spoken about, which is our EBITDA band of 20 to 24%.
Right. Mr. Watts, so two price hikes, one in April, the other one in May. Are you anticipating any further price increases in the first half of FY27?
We have taken some price increases in already, as I spoke to you. I think as far as April month is concerned, I've been extensively traveling the market, meeting our dealers. I've been there in the big cities and small towns. I think as of now, demand seems to be intact. There is considerable momentum, which is still there. I think the key issue now is, does the West Asia crisis last for just about a month and hopefully settle in this month, at least temporarily, or does it continue for longer? I think if it is this month, I think the Indian economy is resilient enough to take it in its stride and the demand will continue. If the conflict is prolonged, I think that's an entirely different matter and a conversation to be had later.
Okay, Mr. Vats, hi, this is Snehi also joining in. With the 3,202 crore standalone profit before tax that we've seen in the relatively asset-light model, what is your Capex outlook for FY27, and are there any meaningful acquisition targets or greenfield investments being considered in the pioneer categories?
So as far as Pidilite is concerned, we look at Capex all the time. We look at Capex for growth. We look at Capex for upgradation of the capacity and renovation at times. And we also look at Capex for newer categories when we basically wherever that is needed. Our Capex tends to remain between 3 to 5% of our revenue. I think in FY27 it will be the same. We are indeed looking at a few greenfield projects. You will see one large Fevicol facility coming up in West India in the early part of FY27. And there will be work happening as we continue to look at all our Capex in a meaningful, long-term, sustainable way.
Mr. Watts, the large Fevicol facility that you mentioned is planned for FY27. When do you see this contributing to your books?
No, our Capex are always planned in a way to be able to give us the ability to continue to grow. In many cases, we also look at Capex for upgradation of facilities, consolidation, automation. So this large facility, which is going to come up in early part of FY27, is one such attempt. You know that we have a very large facility in Vizag for our white glues, premium white glues, particularly under Fevicol brand. I think a similar one is coming in West, in Mahar.
Okay, and Mr. Watts, your domestic B2B subsidiary saw EBITDA falling by about 41% for the entire year of FY26, despite a 5.1% revenue decline. A significant margin deterioration is also something that we've seen over there. What is driving this, and is there any timeline for recovery in these segments?
So our domestic subsidiaries continue to do well. In the immediate period, you may have seen some movement. I think that has been particularly the case for our subsidiary called Nina Percept, which is our appliance supply waterproofing subsidiary, where we do this work. I think some of this is also dependent on movement of labor and the work which is happening and some of the things which are there because of the elections that were ensuing. So towards the latter half of the quarter that went by, we had certain challenges which were temporary. But having said that, our subsidiaries, domestic subsidiaries, particularly Nina and ICA, continue to be on a strong foothold and continue to strengthen as we go forward.
And will the pioneer brands, like you mentioned, like Fevicol, whether it is a Litcol or a Jawat, they are very nascent right now. How could you give us any revenue update on these? Which of these is the closest to hitting 100 crore milestone? You've already set as the pioneer category threshold already.
So a lot of our pioneering brands are doing very well indeed. And I think one of them is a brand called Roff Starlike, which is a part of our joint venture with Litocol. I think that pioneering brand is entering growth phase. I'm happy to report that in a very quick period, it has crossed the the 100 crore mark, which we talk about for pioneering brands to move into growth. I think there are other pioneering brands that are doing very well as well. So there are lots that are coming up from behind. And in the years to come, you will hear of many of our pioneering brands entering growth. I think at this moment, I'm very happy to report about Roff Starlike, which is our Litocol joint venture, which has done exceedingly well.
Okay, Mr. Watts, on that note, we'll let you go. Thank you so much for your time. Congratulations on a good quarter. And thank you so much for breaking down what lies ahead for Pidilite. So viewers, that was the management of Pidilite talking to us. But as we slip into a very short break, let's just take a quick look at what the market is doing right now, because at open, we were absolutely subdued for the market. Continues to be that way. In fact, we've lost some more steam. 0.6% lower right now. It's a 140-point cut. 24,185 is where we are at. Time to slip into a very short break. On the other side of the break, we'll be breaking down Lupin's Q4 performance and interacting with that management as well. A whole panel will be joining us, so stay tuned and we'll be right back.